everybody, welcome back to Trackilicious. You have made it to the new season of Le Mans Ultimate. It is the GT3s back for another sprint season. The same format as we had from last season carried over once again into the fall season. So that means we have 40-minute sprint races with a 20-minute qualifying at the start, split up into two 10-minute sessions. The first part will be for the evens or odds, and the second half will be for the other half of the grid. That way, it's not too jumbled up out on track amongst the 19 drivers we currently have in the practice session, as they get things finalized before the start of the qualifying. We'll just have to wait and see how that gets on. Can Jake Terrell get another championship to his name, or will there be some quick contenders being able to dethrone him from taking his 5th championship at Trackilicious? Was a dominant season from him last time around. He got 7 race wins out of 8 for a absolutely dominant championship win. We'll see if he can carry that momentum into this one, switching up cars. But more on that later on. Hopefully, everyone tuning in is having a good week so far. Happy Tuesday. You made it to Trackilicious. The season opener tonight, where over the next 8 weeks, we will have 7 rounds of racing in Le Mans Ultimate. The same format we all know and love. It's going to be fun. Quick names joining us this season, and a lot of the drivers switching up the cars as well, so that will be interesting to keep our eyes on as well. And with the session ticking over, qualifying is about to begin. Let's head to the track, where end of the practice is upon us, and the session will tick over into the race. And there is that moment. So 20 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock for the 19 drivers today. The first 10 minutes belong to the odd-numbered drivers, or no, excuse me, the even-numbered drivers, as Jace Wright leads the pack out of the garage in his number 24 Lamborghini to begin the session. Hello, One Bigley. Hello, Tato. Hello, Kilnagen. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you are all doing well as we get started on yet another Le Mans Ultimate season here on Tuesday nights. Burakovsky in a battle already in the qualifying with the BMW behind. And One Bigley, thank you very much for the donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the continued support. As always, happy to have you here. Thank you from myself and everybody at Trackilicious doing their part to keep things running smoothly here. Chris Jackson in the 7-Up McLaren, going around the hairpin on his outlap. Indeed, Callie. It's been quite a big break, but we are back in the swing of things. This week, we've got Fuji. Next week, we've got Sebring for round number 2. 9 drivers out on the track for the even numbers. And now Chris Jackson going down one of the longest straightaways on any track there is in the world. Into the hard braking zone at turn 1, braking right around where the curbing begins on the right-hand side. And heading down the hill, a slight kink to the right is turn 2, and then the high-speed left at turn 3 before going into 100R, turns 4 and 5. Oh no, Pork Chop is going to miss this week. He thought, oh man, that's a bummer. Always happy to see the doctor. Maybe you can make it before time expires as Chris Jackson goes through the hairpin at turn 6. The top 2, Wright and Ali, exchanging purple sectors, and now Sosa gets in the mix. What does Chris Jackson have in store for us in Sector 2? Nice and tidy through the chicane before the infield section added most recently to the track. Oh, darn. Well, I guess we won't have the pork chop. Jace Wright goes across the line. A 141.538 is the provisional time to beat as Clutch Racing. Welcome to the Trackilicious Podium. Thank you for the support. Let's see what Chris Jackson has in store coming up to the line. First lap here for the number 10 McLaren and goes into the top 5. What about Michael Moleda? What does the 72 Porsche have in store for us here? Coming up to the line, and Moleda goes all the way to the top, gets a purple sector 2 and 3 to set a 141.203 to get 3/10 clear of Jace Wright, who was on a pretty good lap himself. A little bit down on his time in Sector 1, but an overall best Sector 2 for the number 24. And now just the final corner left. We'll see what time the Lamborghini can do across the line. Oh, a bit of a wiggle on the exit, though. Might cost him a touch of time that he ever so crucially might want to get to that top step of the qualifying. What time can Jace Wright put as he crosses the line? He does go to the top by about a 1/10 of a second over Moleda. George Elmer currently sitting in 6th place, improving on his times though, as Moleda goes drifting through turn 13 behind him. As Burakovsky in the other Ferrari able to get his first valid lap on the board, goes to 7th, less than a 10th behind Elmer. Jackson improves to 6th to slide ahead of the pair of Ferraris. What does George Elmer have in store for us as we wait for him to cross the line down this long, nearly mile-long straight? And now Elmer to the line, gets ahead of Jackson. Moleda with a purple sector 1 and 2. We saw that drift at the end, though, costing him the time. So Moleda in the Porsche will stay in 2nd place. Burakovsky returns to the pits. Oh, and I think Reynolds realized he was out there out of order in the odd-numbered car. But nonetheless, we still continue. What does the 686 BMW of Hashim Ali have in store for us? And yes, there is another Ali. Ninja Chase, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers to that. And can Ali get ahead of the other BMW? It's an improvement overall, but still about a tenth separating the 686 from the number 8 BMW ahead of him on the second row of the grid. Already replaced. One Bigley, thank you for the hydrate as well. Cheers, my friend. As we'll ride with Gabriel Sosa in that 31 livery BMW, but racing with the number 8. Sosa improving through the first sector. A considerable 9/10 of a second gap to the front row, but still BMW can be quite a quick car. See what time the number 8 of Sosa has for us in store, improving on his time in sector 2 as well, trying to build the gap over the cars behind. As we just have 90 seconds remaining in the even numbered drivers session. And now through the final corner goes Sosa, punching it to the line. Will this lap be good enough for him, or will he go around for another go? Does have the time to do so. Does he have the fuel in hand? Across the line, improves his personal best by about 3/10 of a second. And no improvements still from our top two, right on top by about 1/10 of a second, a 141.108. The provisional pole time to chase down. Moleda down on his times in sector 1 and 2. Can he make up for it in 3? No, he cannot. The Ferrari of Elmer or Burakovsky. No, that's Elmer back to the pits. So 6th will be the highest that the number 22 can start. But still with the odd numbered drivers to go. We'll have to wait and see exactly where they end up with the 9 out on track already. And there is the checkered flag waving for the even numbered drivers. Burakovsky off to the side of the road and back to the pits he goes. What do the pair of BMWs have in store for us? Hashim back to the pits in the 686. No improvements there. And Sosa also down on his time in sector 1 and 2 will also just return to the pits in the number 8. Chris Jackson still going in the number 10. Out of the final corner. A little down on his time in sector 1 and 2. But can he make up for it in number 3? A long run up to the line. Oh, and cheers for the hydrate. Flash Gaming Cool. And Moleda, the last of the even numbered drivers to have a say about anything in the qualifying, and Moleda will just crash into the pits. Less than 1/10 of separation between the top two. Where will the odd numbered drivers stack in with all of this? Terrell, the first of the odd numbered drivers out on track. Champion from last season switching it up to the BMW as he starts his first out lap, or his first qualifying lap, I should say. Down the hill into turn 3, high-speed left-hander, a dab of the brakes, turning it into the inside. Don't run too wide, lots of curbing there. Slowing the drivers down. Then through 100 are lots of different lines to take through here. Terrell opting to just hug the apex on the inside, setting him up for the hairpin at turn 6. Drifting out wide before running again down the hill just a touch into the tight corner of Dunlop at turn 10. A very tight chicane added in 2005. Used to be a lot more open, and this infield section didn't exist at all. But that has since changed. Lots of switchbacks to finish out the lap, and through the final corner comes the 83. No purple sectors on the board for the BMW. Let's see where this will slot the number 83. As Jake Terrell comes up to the line, goes up to 4th place, joins the other BMWs as Ivan Cabral goes all the way to the top and into the 140s, a 140.946. What does Brian DeSantiago have in store for us? Switching back to the BMW, his beloved, as he goes into 11th, about half a second outside of the top 10. Zack Terrell goes ahead of Jake in the number 69 BMW. And Ivan Cabral with a good lap right out of the gates to get a 10th.5 clear and take provisional pole. And one Bigley just crossing the line there. Gets him inside the top 15. Less than a 10th between himself and Jim Reynolds. And about a 10th.5 to Chris Jackson sitting in 13th place. Cabral is improving on his personal best lap. Improving in Sector 1 and 2. He didn't have a purple sector until Sector 3, so it seems his Porsche really coming to life here in these tight hairpin corners. And now punching it to the line. Can Cabral improve that benchmark at the top? Coming up to the line now. He sure can. Nearly half a second between himself and Jace Wright. Zack Terrell moves up to 4th. Jake Terrell up into the top 5. So the Porsche looking quite strong with 4 BMWs in a row from 4th to 7th place. Ryan Eason, the lone Corvette, sitting now just outside the top 10, getting pushed out by Jake Schaefbauer, who puts his 275 Porsche into 9th. Into the tight section of turns 10, 11, and 12. Siege engine just ahead of Ryan Eason. Both on track and in the standings. Less than a 10th.5 between Eason and Engine inside the top 10. but it looks like Eason invalidated his lap early on. And we'll have to go around once more. 3 minutes, 10 seconds remain in the first qualifying session of the season. As Eason can't find an improvement there, we'll have to go around once more. One bigly with a few corners left, looking for about 4/10 to get to George Elmer's time, up in 13th place. It's looking good so far. Personal best sector 1 and 2 from the Mustang. What can the 253 do coming up to the line? And he does find a huge improvement and gets up to 13th and puts a good amount of separation between himself and Elmer. Now looking ahead, he's got Brian DeSantiago about a 10th ahead of him. As the 777 BMW coming up to the line. Must have had a visit to the pits. Starting another push attempt here in the final 90 seconds of the qualifying. Jake Terrell goes up to the front row, gets ahead of Wright and Moleda. Now 3.5 tenths separate the BMW from Ivan Cabral in the top spot. Jake Schaefbauer out of the final corner. Can the 275 Porsche get an improvement coming up to the line? The next 3 drivers in the pits needs less than a 10th to get ahead of 2 BMWs. Does he have the time? Not quite. Still, though, crossing the line before the checkered flag, the Porsche has one last attempt to try and clear Diego Mateo ahead, as well as Hashim Ali. Cabral looking for another improvement here. Purple Sector 1, a little bit down on his time in Sector 2. Can he finish it off with another overall best lap here? Terrell just ahead of him. Checkered flag is waving. This will be the last lap for the odd numbered drivers. Terrell, no improvement. Second will be where the 83 BMW will start. What about Cabral? Can he improve the benchmark? He cannot. But nonetheless, as it stands, a provisional pole position for Ivan Cabral, unless any of the drivers behind have anything to say about it. Ryan Eason still looking for that 10th and a half and can't get it. Crossing the line, he will start in 11th place. What about Brian DeSantiago? Does he have anything in store for us to try and get ahead of Eason? Needs about 0.3 of a second to do so. Improving on his time in Sector 1. Just ahead of him, Alan Pena. Looking to get an improvement and get ahead of Drew Burakovsky. And he can't quite do so there. Very close separation from the drivers all throughout. Oh, and Brian DeSantiago had to return back to the pits. So that is it for the first qualifying session of the season. 20 minutes have completed, and we will move on to the 40 minutes of racing we have ahead.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
And so, we have 90 seconds to get through our lovely grid. 20 cars ended up joining in the end. Alan Pena will start in 20th, but a very tight gap between whole bottom 5, really. Next in front of him is the 68 Ferrari of Drew Burakovsky. Then we have Samuel Reich starting in 18th place in the number 13 Lexus. In front of him is the pair of McLarens. First is Jim Reynolds in the 313. And ahead of him is Chris Jackson in the number 10 7-Up McLaren. In the top 15, we have George Elmer in the number 22 Ferrari. Joining him on, rounding out the back of the 7th row is going to be Brett Samuelson. He's going to have one bigly next to him as the two Mustangs make up the 7th row of the grid. In front of the Mustangs, we have the BMW of Brian DeSantiago in the 777, lining up next to the 705 of Ryan Eason in the Corvette. Inside the top 10 is the number 5 Mustang of Siege Engine. He will line up next to the 275 Porsche of Jake Schaefbauer. The 4th row consists of Diego Mateo in the 444 Porsche alongside Hashim Ali in the 686 BMW. Then it's the BMWs of Gabriel Sosa and Zack Terrell inside the top 5. The 2nd row, Michael Moleda in the number 72 Porsche with Jace Wright next to him in the 24 Lamborghini. And the front row, the two rivals from last season, Jake Terrell starts from 2nd in the 83 BMW. And Ivan Cabral continues in the Porsche from last season in the number 57. This time he has pole position. Can he take advantage and get a race win away from Terrell, continuing all the way from last season in the Peppa the Pig Porsche? What can Ivan Cabral do? A long run up to the green lights where we'll have 40 minutes of uninterrupted racing until the checkered flag. No pit stops, no refueling necessary. A sprint race from start to finish. 20 cars, here we go. Burakovsky with a pit start, but Ivan Cabral having to chop over with the BMW getting a great start. Terrell looking to get around the outside of Cabral, and he looks like he's done so, but the Porsche has the inside. Michael Moleda goes through to 2nd place momentarily from 4th. Might lose out to Jace Wright, who has the inside line, but the Lamborghini not given a lot of space there. But nonetheless, Moleda does go through and get 3rd place. Cabral losing out from pole position, now has to try and make up the time and get back ahead of Terrell, who made a great start in the 83 BMW, but now down the inside. Oh, and there's contact between Cabral and Terrell goes spinning. He's able to get back on the racing surface and going once again, but he has dropped significantly down the order. He is now behind Jackson in 15th place and down the inside of turn 10, trying to make up ground already, and does so with a good move there. And at the front, Michael Moleda goes through for the race lead. The 72 Porsche starting from 4th goes all the way up to 1st at the end of the 1st lap. Or is it going to be 1st? Because Ivan Cabral sticks his nose down the inside and will retake 1st place. After starting on pole provisionally, Terrell got through at the start. A bit of contact at the hairpin between the Porsches and the BMW. Moleda went through at the final corner. Cabral goes through, and now they are bumping side by side. Moleda nearly goes spinning, but able to keep it under control into the runoff. Able to escape the gravel, but Cabral will maintain the race lead with Jace Wright hot on his tail. Absolutely tight battling between the top 5. There's Zack Terrell trying to get in the mix in the number 69 BMW. He started inside the top 5 and now up to the podium positions. Jace Wright a little bit deep into turn 10. Zack Terrell might think about making a move here with Moleda hot on his tail. Moleda cutting through turn 14, or 15, excuse me. And down the inside, trying to stick the nose, but the BMW able to carry the speed around the outside and will hold on to third. And now it's a long run down to the braking zone of turn 1. Siege Engine with a good start, started from 10th all the way up to 6th now in the number 5 Mystery Machine Ford. Schaefbauer making up a couple of places as well from that race start. Brian DeSantiago up to 11th. Ryan Eason slips inside the top 10. Terrell side by side with Moleda, but the BMW has the better exits, able to get his bumper ahead. But now into the heavy braking zone of turn 10, the Porsche thinking about the move down the inside, but just tucking in once again. Cabral building up a gap over 1 second to Jace Wright. Trying to do the same over Terrell and Moleda. And the Porsche has a switchback opportunity, goes to the inside of the final corner and parks it on the apex. The BMW can't get the switchback back, but they are still going to run side by side all the way down this main straight. Terrell with the inside advantage, and now the 72 Porsche tucks in behind to try and get as much slipstream as possible. But in the straight line, the BMW really seems to have the advantage over the Porsche. Late on the brakes once again. Can Moleda pull it off? A little bit of contact between the two as they run down the hill through turn 2 and into the high-speed left-hander. Terrell has the inside line. Can he hold on to it? A bit early on the brakes. The Porsche runs deep. They're still side by side, and the BMW will maintain third. Oh, and the Porsche slides down the inside once again, going a little bit past the apex, opens up the inside for Terrell to sneak back through, and once again they are going to run side by side down the hill now through turns 8 and 9 into the heavy braking zone of turn 10. The Porsche ahead a little bit deep though. The 69 will take third back. All of this battling has really opened up the gap to Jace Wright. He's 2.5 seconds up the road now of this battling duo. Make it trio with Sosa getting in the mix in the number 8. Great battles all the way up and down the grid here. Ryan Eason trying to get back into the top 10. He's got Brian DeSantiago ahead of him in the 777 BMW. We see the BMWs inside the top 5 have a good straight line speed advantage And it looks like it's the same story here with the Santiago able to build that gap in the straight line. And can Brett Samuelson use the slipstream to his advantage and try and pull a move to the inside? Thought about it momentarily, but it's in fact Elmer who is thinking about making a move down the inside in the 22 Ferrari, but he thinks the better of it and it tucks behind the Mustang. Good battles all the way up and down the grid. The two McLarens battling for 14th and 15th. Jackson ahead of Pena. Alan Pena started from 20th, making up 5 places in the first 8 minutes so far. And looking to climb further up with Chris Jackson now ahead of him in equal machinery. Two McLarens battling now down the straight. Slipstream goes to Pena as he is trying to close in. Goes to the outside with Jackson defending that inside line. Can Pena make it stick the long way around? Jackson hard on the brakes. A little bit deep on the exit though, but able to carry the speed down the hill and will hold on to 14th place. Oh, Siege Engine has had a moment in the Mystery Machine, the number 5 dropping outside the top 10. As he is now going to get close to this McLaren battle. And there is the number 10 McLaren. Still under heavy pressure from Pena, and he is going to try to go the long way around. Very tricky to do at turn 10. And Chris Jackson just holding on to the inside, holding on to that 14th place. Two McLarens continue to battle at the beginning of the straight. At the end of the straight, Moleda can't make up ground on Terrell. Still, the BMW remains in that final podium position. 3.5 seconds now between Terrell and Wright in second place. Down the inside, Moleda, late move. But once again, Terrell with the grip around the outside and the speed in the BMW, able to hold on to third. He's still able to build a gap over the car behind, and Moleda once again trying to stick a nose down the inside, and Terrell covering off that opportunity. And once again, Moleda with that real inside line, trying to get any little bit of track position he can over the BMW, but Terrell with the grip around the outside, able to carry the momentum and the 69 will hang on to third. Once again, just thinking about sending it down the inside. Terrell leaving plenty of space. He is confident in the grip of that BMW. Moleda tries to switch back late. But through turn 3, no luck there. Now as they go through 100R, once again at the hairpin at turn 6, is Moleda's best opportunity to send it late, and he does it again, and this time he gets a bumper ahead of the BMW to take a place on the podium. The 72 just waiting and waiting for the move to stick, and this time 15 or 14 minutes into the race, Moleda gets back onto the podium. Now needs to try and make up 5 seconds to Jace Wright, up ahead in second place. Can he even build a gap over the BMW behind? It's going to be the first time the 69 is behind the 72 down this long straight. Does Terrell have the advantage in that BMW to try and take the place back? And he's got Sosa not too far behind him as well, applying the pressure. One dive per turn. Moleda defends the inside line. The 69 can't keep the grip around the outside like he did before to defend the place. So Terrell will have to try and fight through here. Certainly in the first sector, the BMW has the advantage, but it looks like in Sector 3, advantage goes to Moleda in the Porsche. Sector 2 pretty evenly matched. That BMW really able to take advantage in the straight line compared to the Porsche. But at the moment, Moleda can't build a gap over the BMWs behind, with the gap hanging around that 5-second mark to Jace Wright. (15 minutes into this one, Ivan Cabral leads the way in the number 57 Porsche. Had pole position, lost the lead in the opening corners, and got it back at the end of the lap, and hasn't looked back since. Opened up a 4-second gap over Jace Wright in second in his Lamborghini, with that V10 just roaring along. A happy sound for all to hear. Rounding out the podium, recently getting to that position was Michael Moleda, after battling with the 69 BMW, now sitting in 4th. Gabriel Sosa sits in 5th place in the number 8 BMW. Jake Schaefbauer up to 6th after starting from 9th place in the 275 Porsche. Diego Mateo behind him in the 444 Porsche. Those two separated by less than a second. And not too far off the battle for the top 5 either. Behind them, Brian DeSantiago started well outside the top 10 and is up to 8th place in his 777 BMW. Ryan Eason behind him in the lone Corvette in the 705. Hashim Ali rounds out the top 10 in the 686 BMW. Brett Samuelson behind him in 11th, then George Elmer 12th. Siege Engine recovering after he fell back to 13th, back in the wheel tracks of... or not Siege Engine back in the wheel tracks of George Elmer for 12th place. Drew Burakovsky in 14th, Alan Pena 15th, One Bigley 16th, Chris Jackson in 17th, and unfortunately we have lost Samuel Reich, Jim Reynolds, and Jake Terrell from round number 1. So with all the battling going on from 3rd to 5th, can the Porsches of Shakeup and Mateo make up that 3-second gap? Potentially challenge the BMWs and Moleda in the Porsche as well for a spot on the podium. Still lots to be decided here. Did Moleda just use up all the tires trying to get by Terrell, and now just doesn't have the pace in the Porsche like we saw on the opening at lap to try and challenge for the race lead? Certainly still the lights of the BMW ever so present in the mirror of Michael Moleda. There were the two Porsches coming into shot. Diego Mateo in the 444 behind Shakeup in the 275. And in the equal machinery, Mateo still can't get that slipstream advantage to get closer to Shakeup, who will remain ahead in the 275. Siege Engine did get ahead of George Elmer and retakes a spot inside the top 10. Elmer now in a Ford sandwich here with Engine in front of him, and Brett Samuelson on his tail in the number 29. Take a look at our grid progress here. Cabral remains in the position he started, in pole position, building up a now 5-second gap over Jace Wright in second place, who has made up a place, as well as Moleda, Terrell, and Sosa behind. Shakeup moving up 3 places, to Santiago moving up 4 to get a spot inside the top 10. Eason up a couple. Engine recovering back to the position that he started in the number 5 Mustang. Drew Burakovsky, the big mover, up 6 places, all the way up to 13th place. Bigley down 1. A pair of McLarens up from where they started, and the BMW of Ali dropping to 17th after starting inside the top 10. Closest battle we have here for a spot just outside the top 10 in 11th between Samuelson and Elmer. The Ford just thinking about that move down the inside, but can't get it done. The Ferrari covering it off. Elmer with that inside line trying to cover off the attack, but Brent Samuelson keeping the speed out wide, looking to use the slipstream and try and get through down the inside. He's gonna duck out of the slipstream of the Ferrari and challenge him in the straight line speed department. There they go, roaring down to the braking zone. Can Samuelson be the last of the breakers and get the move done? Elmer maintains the speed around the outside, but Samuelson does go through. And up to 11th place goes the 29 Mustang. Elmer now looking to stay close and try and get that place back. Elmer thinking of the move down the inside of the hairpin, but Samuelson has that opportunity covered off. There's no room in the final sector for Elmer to try and get back through. Can the Ferrari now use the slipstream to try and get ahead of the Mustang? Into turn one, the Ferrari just can't get close enough, even with that slipstream. Try and get back ahead of the Mustang. Schaefbauer does close in on the top five, less than a second between the Porsche and the BMW of Sosa. As the BMW looks to hold on to a spot in the top five, drifting about 3.5 seconds behind Terrell. And now certainly the Porsche appearing rather big in the mirror of Gabriel Sosa in the last 15 minutes of this one. Even with the slipstream, Sosa able to build the gap. And just ahead of these two, Zack Terrell in fourth place. Just hanging on right about within a second of Michael Moleda for that podium position. But Moleda hasn't really been able to make up ground on Jace right in front. So these two very much still in a battle for that final spot in the podium positions. One Bigley getting close to Drew Burakovsky. Battle for 13th place. Burakovsky closing in on Elmer also. This may turn into a 3-car battle. We've seen the Mustang of Samuelson have a good advantage over George Elmer in the straight line speed. Does one Bigley have the same over Burakovsky in front? Less than half a second between them, and that gap is shrinking as they go down into the braking zone of turn 1. But the Mustang not close enough just yet to think about sending it to the inside. Schaefbauer and Sosa very close together now as they go through Sector 3. Sosa just a touch wide on the exit of 13. Schaefbauer getting just a touch closer. But down the straightaway, the BMW should have the advantage, even with giving a slipstream to the Porsche behind. Good overlap here between Schaefbauer and Sosa, thinking about that inside move at the hairpin that we saw Moleda do, but not able to make the move stick. With the BMW maintaining ground over the 275. Through the corners, certainly where the Porsche will have the advantage, needs to try and get that overlap earlier on in the lap. Oh! What's happened to Sosa? He's disappeared. Oh no. That's going to be the easiest overtake that Schaefbauer's ever had to do. So into the top 5 goes the 275, up to 6 now goes Mateo. And that will promote Samuelson, who was running in 11th, up into the top 10. Huh. Well, Schaefbauer under pressure, though, from the 444 behind. Through 100R they go. And Schaefbauer defends the inside. Two flat 6 engines. Going down the hill into turn 10. And Shakeup will maintain position ahead of Diego Mateo. Zack Terrell still within a second of Michael Moleda for a podium position. At points getting within half a second. As the 69 BMW tries to take third place back that he was running in for the first 10 or 15 minutes of this race. Just can't stay close enough to attack the braking zones. Hear the Lamborghini roaring away in the distance there. Mateo still within that second to Shakeup. Trying to get his Porsche inside the top 5. Gaps opening up in between the top 3, 8 seconds between race leader Ivan Cabral and Jace Wright in second. 6.5 seconds then from Wright to Michael Moleda, who's certainly under pressure from Zack Terrell. Less than a second between them for a spot on the podium. Then behind you got Shakeup and Mateo. Brian DeSantiago in 7th, Ryan Eason in 8th, Siege Engine up to 9th, and Brett Samuelson rounds out the top 10. Then you have the pair of Ferraris of Elmer and Burakovsky. One big lead behind them in the 13th in the 253 Mustang. Then we have the pair of McLarens, Pena leading Jackson. Sosa, after disappearing from everybody's screen, in 16th place, and back in the pits are Ali, Reich, Reynolds, and Terrell. And into the final 3 laps of this race. Not a lot of time left now for the BMW to try to retake the podium place, and it looks like he's beginning to push that gap. Less than half a second now between the 69 and the 72 Porsche. Late on the brakes, trying to carry as much speed through turn 6 as possible down the hill, taking advantage of the straight line speed of the BMW going into the tight chicane at turn 10. Very deep on the brakes from the 69, almost going into the back of the Porsche, but ultimately it's going to slow down the BMW and open up that gap to over a second. Once again in the straights, the BMW able to eke out a 10th or so over the Porsche. But throughout the corner, the Porsche able to earn that time back. Ivan Cabral rounds out the final corner before he will start his final lap around the Fuji Speedway. Just 2.8 miles left for Ivan Cabral to bring this one home. One Bigley getting close to the Ferrari of Burakovsky once again. This is now a battle for 12th. With the Mustang trying to close in on the Ferrari. Oh, and a little bit of a drift on the exit of 13. That will certainly hinder the Mustang's chances of trying to get up to 12th place. And that gap still hovering around a second between Terrell and Moleda. Just not close enough for the BMW to try and challenge into the final set of heavy braking zones here. With Cabral going through the 16th and final corner. The number 57 Porsche qualified on pole. Lost the race lead early on, but got it back at the end of lap 1 and hasn't looked back since. It's a dominant win here. 10 seconds between Cabral and Wright, but the 57 Porsche will take the first win of the season. Jace Wright able to wrangle the Lamborghini to a podium. He will finish in second place. Michael Moleda, great moves from the 72 to finish on the podium. Terrell across the line in fourth. Next, we have the pair of Porsches of Jake Schaefbauer finishing inside the top 5, and Diego Mateo behind him in 6th place. Brian DeSantiago is certainly under pressure from Ryan Eason here at the end, but he will be able to pull this one off, and he will finish in 7th. Lots of 7s there for Brian DeSantiago. The 777 up to 7th. Ryan Eason in 8th. Siege Engine with an up-down-up race in his number 5 Mustang, able to come out with a 9th place finish in this one. Brett Samuelson will round out the top 10, followed by George Elmer in the number 22 Ferrari in 11th. Drew Burakovsky finishes 12th, with one Bigley in 13th, about a second behind. Then we have the pair of McLarens, Pena starting from the back of the grid up to 14th, and Chris Jackson, the last of the finishers, in 15th place. Unfortunately, losing Sosa, Reich, Ali, Reynolds, and Jake Terrell earlier on in this one. That will do it for the on-track action for round number 1. We'll take it back to the Trackilicious studio, and we will invite our lovely podium sitters to the green room for a quick chat of how your guys' race went. Hopefully all is great for you guys. Of course it is. You guys got a podium to start things off here. no better way to get the season rolling than with a win for Ivan Cabral, who's standing by and ready for a chat. Hello, Ivan. Welcome in. Congrats on taking the first win of the season.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
All good. There you go. Welcome in.
Thank you. It's good to be back in the series. I was really waiting for today, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem at all. It was good fun early on. The first lap, certainly exciting. Talk us through what it's like, that feeling of just getting swarmed by the BMW at the start there.
Yeah, I already knew that the BMW would have a pretty good start. Like I was really worried about that because the Porsche is one of the worst out of the line. So it was like the best against the worst. So if you combine those two, I already knew that by turn one, Jake was going to be clear. Yep. And then that lap one was a lot of chaotic. Like the other Porsche that was behind me was trying to make moves. When I tried to gave him enough room, and I made contact with Jake. So I mean, a lot of things going on. I'm really sorry for. I would like to apologize to Jake for the contact. I don't know, like a lot of things going on that to be aware at the same time. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a tricky one. A lot of cars just piling into one really tight corner. Everyone eager to get the race lead early on, but you were able to get it back.
Yeah.
At the end there, or at the end of the opening lap, at least I should say.
Yeah, the Porsche had a good run on me on the straight, and when he overshot turn one, then it was all clear, and I knew the Lambo was going to be a contender against us. So yeah, it was all just to try to put the fastest lap and the cleanest lap until the end, and yeah, all the pace that I practice for today just to win tonight feels awesome. So good start for the season, and look ahead on what's coming next race.
Yeah, gonna be fun next week. We'll be at Sebring. So yeah, congrats on the win. Off, like you said, off to a good start on the season, and good luck carrying this momentum in the next 6 races. Well done, Ivan.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Moving back to the green room here. Thank you, Ivan, for joining us. Bit of a shy podium today, but that is okay. The ACC season's still in the works. Signups should be available this week, and they will get started the first week of September, if not the last week of August. So be on the lookout in the Discord for that. Next week, round number 2 will be held at Sebring for the same format. 40 minutes of racing, 20 minutes of qualifying, split between the evens and the odds. But for now, we will leave you with the raid of Anka doing some more Le Mans Ultimate Racing for us all to enjoy. So stick around for that. Thank you all for joining us tonight on your Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, wherever you may be watching us from. Happy to have you here at Trackilicious. We are back and in the full swing of things. We will see you all back here, same time, same place, next week. Sebring International Raceway is the destination. We will hope to see a full grid once again. Stick around for the raid. Have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, or night. thank you once again for being here. We'll see you next time.